Hey guys, welcome along to my new Mandela Madness movie. Let's roll it, shall we?
Has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does.
Hey guys, welcome along to a new episode of Mandela Madness. Now what I normally like to do with the series is find a single YouTuber, kind of single them out, analyze one of their videos, and then just do a breakdown of that video, basically debunking any claims that they have over the Mandela effect or exploring any logical answers as to why what they're seeing is happening. This episode will be slightly different. It's the first of a three-part series called The Method Behind the Madness. What we're going to do here is we're going to find a collection of YouTubers who are all using the same questionable method to make a video and bring it to you, and then just break down what that method is, as well as going briefly into what the Mandela effects are that they're explaining, and possibly bringing to light some really obvious answers that may have eluded them for whatever reason. So with this video we're going to explore the method that a lot of these filmmakers are using to portray their videos and bring them to you. It's a method that is a staple in the film industry. It's something that a lot of people are very critical about. It's very important to be able to portray your ideas to people, to have this method down pat, and what that method is the shaky self-shot video. So without further ado, here's the first video for you guys. This first video that we're going to look at is brought to us by a channel named We the Seekers, and it's titled Mandela Effect Magazine Changes Before Our Eyes. Let's watch.
First off, I need to apologize for the quality of this video because it's going to be shitty.
So you have to give this guy some points for being completely transparent and upfront with us from the get-go. This is good. This is good. It builds trust with the audience.
I hate it when people use their cameras to point at pictures not digitized, but I don't have any choice.
You kind of have a range of choices. Choice number one is you can choose to just narrate your video using a free program called Audacity, or you could just use some application on your cell phone, and then you could sync up that narration with some photos that you've taken with your actually pretty good quality camera, so I'll give you points for that as well, and then you could sync that all up together in a free movie making program such as Windows Movie Maker. Choice number two is that you could use a free program like Snagit, just use the 14-day trial and clip the images that you need, maybe take photos of the magazine and do the same thing where you sync up your voice. You can actually use Snagit to narrate your voice as you go as well, so there is that added benefit. And choice number three of what appears to be almost a limitless range of ideas that's just coming to me now is that you could just choose not to make the fucking video in the first place and carry on with your life.
Basically, this is going to be the worst video you've ever seen.
Well, fuck. I mean, do we want to keep watching this? I don't know.
This is about the Mandela effect, specifically about the JFK assassination. I am convinced at this point that it's really real. Two people in the middle and the presidential couple. Alright, and because I wasn't able to show you the pictures very well from the magazine, let me see if I can find a better one. Alright, just to god damn it. I guess the focus is just gonna be off. Now here's the clincher. This is really weird. Now, my wife talked her mother into giving us these magazines. So she says to her, look in the magazine before you bring it over, look in it, and tell me how many seats you see. My wife's mother, my mother-in-law, looked in the magazine and saw 4 seats.
Then shouldn't the title of this video really be magazine changed from what my mother-in-law thought it was before we actually brought it to my house and scrutinized it later, rather than magazine changed before our eyes? It's not really changing before your eyes, it's changing before your eyes get to see it. I don't know, I think that's a little bit dishonest, so points down for that.
In the presidential car. Will you go out, please? Daddy's making a movie. Thank you, baby.
Making a movie. This isn't Birdman. Alright, you're not making a masterpiece here. Alright, this next video is brought to us by a channel named 56K Brown, and the title of the video is called Mandela Effect, The World Did End in 2012. There's a phrase in the film business called mise en scène, which is a French word. It's basically an expression to explain the design of a scene. A filmmaker doesn't just randomly film in any given location. They take a collection of important things that mean stuff for what they want to depict, and they put it in the scene, so they're well aware of what you're seeing. 56K Brown has completely thrown this out the window. He's gone guerrilla style, and this is how he's made his video.
Hello. So, somebody said something in a video I was watching, and I've been thinking about it quite a bit. Regarding this Mandela effect, in relation to the Mayan calendar, ending in 2012. Maybe the world did end.
For this particular video, the subject has chosen to film the entire segment within the confines of a moving vehicle. It's a bold choice, it's a risky choice. It's risky because not only is it illegal in many places around the world, including where I am right now, to operate a mobile device or a camera while driving, it's also quite risky, and this is also why it's illegal, because you might run over somebody who's around you, and that would not be a good thing. But it speaks volumes about this guy's balls. You know, he's got epic balls if he's willing to take that risk, to take that chance, and maim somebody or kill somebody, if it means to better the advancement of bringing the knowledge forth of the Mandela effect to the Mandela effect community. Except it doesn't really do that.
I think we are living on a different world. I seen another video where there are animals I've never seen before.
This video, he doesn't have any very definitive points. He's got a vague feeling that he wanted to express. It feels like he probably could have picked a better filming location than on his way home from the shop or whatever the hell he's doing. He could have done it over there next to that nice couple, or he could have pulled over and filmed it down this street over here. He could have waited till he got home and filmed it in his bathroom in front of his vanity. Who gives a shit? It would have been infinitely better than filming it inside a moving vehicle. I feel like I've done this long enough to prove my point. I'm heading back to the studio. Back to you, Nick. So the reason that I think 56K Brown's video has been so successful is it kind of captures three key markets. You got the Mandela Effect community, that's a big draw card. And then you've got a bit of a revived throwback to the 2012 community that were hoping the world was going to end 6 years ago. You know, they can stand up and have their voice counted and say, look, actually it did end. And then the third group that this really appeals to are people who like to drive around in cars with old men hearing their opinions and not being able to escape. I'll put that in there. So yeah, it's been a popular video. It's got a lot of views, so it's doing something right. He's got some sort of golden ratio with the way he's produced this video, and it's working for him. So that's not too bad.
Maybe this is the different world. What's left.
Okay, our next video comes from a sweet little lady whose name is Lizette102.
Hey, this is Lizette102, and I'm just wondering if anybody has sort of put two and two together and realized that the only means we really have to do research and to study with, besides textbooks, and if you're in school, I don't even know if they still have them, but it's the computer. So wouldn't it stand to reason that whoever has the highest access to all computers is making the changes?
Have you ever tried to update a PDF? Think about the huge amount of work that happened in Y2K. There was a huge amount of work that was put into adding extra numerical fields so that we could change the whole banking system to be 4 digits rather than 2 digits, if you remember that. But yeah, sure, if somebody wants to take the dash out of KitKat, they just hack reality and it just happens, right? Yeah, okay, sure.
Except for, of course, the geological changes. I mean, you just can't change landmass. Although that's showing on Google Earth. And I'm not a traveler, so I can't really verify any of these changes. Can you?
So it's kind of hard to gauge if she does or doesn't believe if there have been changes to land masses here. She kind of just admits that she can't really talk about it because she's not a traveler. She's not been to these places. And that's, good for her. She's actually kind of cottoning on to the fact that she can't verify what her belief is.
It's frustrating to me because I live in Tampa.
Changes to landmass are always seem to be observed from people from one certain area. And they're not generally from the area where they're observing the change in landmasses. You know, you never hear somebody from Mexico just saying, I'm sure that our border used to be here. And it fucking was.
Well, I think that's the culprit. I think it's a psyop.
What I really like about her video is she's talking about how computers are broadcasting these changes as a psyop, kind of gaslighting us, right? And then if we remember the rule of mise-en-scene, in the background you can see her nephew or her grandson sitting in the back, just dead set focused on his Xbox or whatever the hell he's doing. And she's just there, la-da-da, I'm just telling the people of the YouTube that everyone's being brainwashed, and don't worry about little Timmy, he'll be fine in the background there. Okay, this next video I've got for you is from a huge perpetrator of the self-shot mode. Everything he does is pretty much self-shot. I haven't seen him do anything where there's a lot of effort put into the video. It's just camera in hand, blurred out a whole bunch of what he believes is happening with very little evidence or a citation, and upload directly from his phone onto YouTube. The name of this YouTuber is Regato Bonner, and I'm not going to make the obvious joke that his name sounds like Boner. I wouldn't go there, that's too low, okay? I'm gonna rise above that one and continue with the video.
Hello YouTube. So I'm making a movie today.
Okay, whoa, can we stop calling these movies? I know I did it ironically at the beginning of this, but there's a golden standard, I think, before you can call it a movie. From portrait to landscape, maybe we're getting somewhere.
I wanted to discuss what happened on Sunday at church. I wonder what a professional is gonna remember or what they're gonna think of this. And I'm gonna ask two people, a pastor and a doctor. Two people recognize me that I haven't been to church in a while. They call me out. Hey, Rigo, where you been at? How's it going? So they walk up to me and I say, hey guys, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Do you guys remember the verse, the lion shall lay with the lamb, in the Bible? And the guy, he says, yeah, I remember it. So I say, Howard, give me your Bible. Let me see your Bible real quick. He says, okay. I told him, I said, I'll give you which verse it is. It's Isaiah 11:6. So I open his Bible up and I show him Isaiah 11:6 and I tell him, now read it. What does it say? And so he reads it that it's the wolf. He says, the wolf shall dwell with the lamb. So he gives me the Bible back and immediately he says, oh, you must have a lot of time on your hands. Now this is key for me because that right there threw a red flag. Because number one, you know, that's kind of like it's like a diss or like a disrespect.
So let's just get this straight. You basically avoid going to church, as you say, for a couple of weeks or something. And then when you get back, you pull out your camera and you start filming, you know, holding it in people's face, filming bystanders and asking them to pull out their Bible, not providing them with your Bible. And then when you're asking them to read the verse, you're proving them wrong by saying you've remembered it incorrectly or that it's changed. And then they disrespect you for pointing that out to them? Oh man, let's see this. Oh, and Ricardo, don't worry about putting links to the videos that you mentioned in the description box. We don't need to be able to have any transparency over the claims that you're making that you've been dissed. And certainly don't worry about taking the effort to get some sort of editing program to splice those videos into this one so that we can see what it is that you're talking about. Movies don't have to have multiple scenes or anything like that, right? You said these are on your channel, these videos? Let's have a look at where they are, where these people disrespected you. I can't believe they'll do that to you.
Is Isaiah 11:6 says, with the wolf will lie down, but...
So it's the wolf?
No, there is one with the lion. Yeah, there is.
What's going on with that gum chewing in here?
I gotta put it on airplane mode now.
Is this some sort of weird ASMR kind of crossover between the Mandela effect? You're trying to appeal to a slightly wider audience here by putting in a little bit of that. I can do that. I can do that. How about that Mandela effect? Hey, excess consumption could cause laxative effect. No thank you.
But it keeps referring to it as the wolf.
Not the Lion and the Lamb, as the famous song that Elvis Presley did? Or that churches are? What about if you look up photos, like of lions and lambs? Maybe there's like famous paintings of that?
Oh, there's tons of them.
How many paintings of there are when you put up a wolf and a lamb? Looks like the same painting, huh? Not too many. There's a lot of lions there.
No, this
Looks
is
like
wolf,
there's...
wolf.
So there's 4 wolves.
Yeah, wolf,
Those
wolf.
That looks like the same painting
Wolf.
as that, right? Is that the same painting?
Yeah,
No?
it's probably just...
It's about the same painting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you were saying that they were disrespecting you and all that, and I can appreciate how you'd feel hurt by that, but dude, it sounds like you're disrespecting them. You're rubbing it in their face that they don't know what's meant to be their subject matter. The way you're perpetrating your interview, the way you're asking your questions is getting right in their face. You're not giving them any context as to why you're asking these questions, aside from...
I do a discussion chat forum, so...
Why? I mean, are you embarrassed about the real nature of your project? Just jumping back to your original video.
Guys, this is what I'm talking about with people in general. When you go up to them about this effect, you don't have to mention one thing about the effect. All you got to do is bring up an example of it, a phrase or something that's been changed, and it's like they already have it. They already are in that fight or flight mode.
So you don't need to explain about Nelson Mandela. You don't need to explain why you're asking these questions. You don't need to take into account that some dude who's been missing from church has suddenly reappeared after some weeks or months even, and is suddenly asking all these really fucked up questions directly to the pastor. Or the fact that you've got your camera in his face filming him. Yeah, people just go into fight or flight mode because because they don't want to face the truth of the Mandela effect, which you haven't even mentioned to them.
I want you to, do you remember there being a verse in the Bible about the lion shall lay with the lamb? He said, yeah, that's in Isaiah, isn't it? And he looked at the other guy or whatever. The guy starts going through his Bible, and finally he gets to the verse, the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and he reads it, but he can't find the lion and the lamb. So he's thinking, okay, it's just this version of the Bible. It's just this King James version. So they both go up to the podium and go onto the computer the whole time, just looking through the computer, Google under different translations, and couldn't find it.
So it's funny how people remember that verse as the lion and the lamb. Now this is something when it came up in my first video and it stumped me because I don't come from a religious background and I don't pretend to know anything about it. So I actually have looked this one up. You made me done some work. The funny thing about this though, when I looked it up, is everyone reads that first line about the wolf and the lamb, and then they just lose their shit. They don't read the rest of the passage, which I think you should do. You should have full transparency before you jump the boat and start a YouTube channel that makes bullshit like this. So the full passage goes like this. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the young goat and the calf, and the lion and the fatted calf together, and a child shall lead them. I mean, you've got, in that passage, you've got a lamb, you've got a lion, and you've got the word lie. Is it a stretch of the imagination to just go, those 3 words together make that a complete phrase? Because it's there in the rest of the passage. But no, you just stop at the first time you run into a roadblock and go, nope, jumped reality. I'm from a different universe. All you guys are crazy. But if you're from the different universe, technically you're the crazy one, where this is our universe, you can just get out.
So I finished videotaping them, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go over to Dr. Neil and ask him a question about the human anatomy. And I tell him, I said, Dr. Neil, where is the heart located at in the body? And he goes, well, it's towards the center, cleared. Then he goes I go to the skull. I said, so Dr. Neil, the skull, are the eyes hollow? If somebody was missing their eyes, you'd go right to the brain. So he goes, no, there's actually bone behind it and then little opening for the nerves to pass through. Fine, okay. So then I go to the third question, and this was the big one. I said, where's your pulse at? And where do you check for your pulse at? So he goes, yeah, I checked it on my wrist. Now the reason why I said that was because when I looked onto Google just about 2 to 3 weeks ago, the pulse was right here. Okay? It was on the hand.
Now this is a pretty important part of his movie. Notice how he puts his camera down on some sort of flat surface, and you can still see him in the frame. and he can use both of his hands to illustrate his point that he thinks the pulse is here. We'll get to that in a moment. The reason this is important is you don't need to hold your phone and film yourself. If you take a few extra steps, you can actually arrange it so that you can put markers so you know that if you're in or out of shot. You'll know that if you're standing over here, the camera's not going to see you. Or you could always arrange some books like this, and you could put your camera there, and then you don't need to use the shitty front-facing camera. You can use the high-quality back-facing camera. Or you could do something like this. This is the first ever camera mount that I had for making my YouTube videos, and I filmed my first ever Nick's Notorious narratives on this. This is just scrapwood glued together. Or, if you really wanted to invest, make a really good investment for your channel, you could invest in something like this, which is a tripod and a camera mount like this for your phone, and then you can make really good films with that. I know this means that you might have to front up with a little bit of cash just to help out with your videos, but heaven forbid that you actually back your project in which you've set all your beliefs in with actual money, right? You don't need to do that. All you need is the truth.
Right here, okay? So people, let me know if you remember that being on Google or not. When I told him about it, and he said, yeah, it's on, you check right here on your wrist towards this side of it, it's right here. So I go, okay, and then I go on Google thinking I'm going to show this guy, the effect. I'm going to have, this is the proof. I go inside and I Google it, and I keep Googling. So there was photographs, imagine just tons and tons of photographs of this, just hand, like an actual skin-colored hand with 2 fingers checking the pulse like that. So I was baffled. I was like, this is, just weeks ago you could see the pulse is right here. Why am I in front of a doctor trying to show him the change, and all of a sudden it doesn't allow me to see or view photographs of the human anatomy for the hand? And so what he was saying was matching up directly with what was on Google, which had me baffled because it wasn't on Google like that days before.
Let me get this straight. After the service, you detained the doctor and you basically tried to talk him into a corner of which he could not escape. You were going to play your trump card, which was what exactly? A Google image search? But you did this only to find out that you had been Mandelaed, and that's an adjective now. And the picture that you say you saw about 2 weeks ago doesn't exist anymore. Okay. That aside, let's say that you are from an alternative reality, or that our reality has rewritten itself. Whether we are people that have evolved through that process, or whether you believe that we are a product of intelligent design, in which of those worlds does it make sense for a creature to have their pulse here on their hand? The pulse is there because it's a major artery. It's got a lot of blood flowing through it. It's a vital part of your system. If it's damaged or severed, it could mean that you die. That's how people kill themselves. So why would it be in amongst all these tendons on your hand where you are very likely to cut it and sever it and then die? I'm waiting for you to answer me. Why would it be there? Just think about it. Human hands and feet are one of the most common places where we sustain injuries. Just like you could do it with a kitchen knife or trying to break open a mollusk or something.
So I gotta do it caveman style.
Yeah, you try to prove this, and you have all these effects, and then you take it to someone who's professional, and then it just kind of fell into place where, hey, no longer did you see photographs of human hand anatomy in front of the doctor.
Yes, because your argument actually holds no water. You're basing it off a memory of a picture that you may or may not have seen on Google Images 2 or 3 weeks ago. You can't even get the time frame consistent as to when you saw these images. And you didn't even bother to make a backup of them or a screenshot or something like that so that you could at least fall back and see it. But I know they can change that too, right? They can hack into your computer and they can change what a screenshot is that you took.
Absolutely bizarre. At Google, you've been able to search. I searched through websites for for about 3 minutes. If you can imagine that, being in front of somebody taking up their time searching for a human pulse and can't find one anywhere on any internet site or nothing.
Yes, now that you mention it, what you did does sound very ridiculous.
So anyways, I go to, I go outside and you guys see the video of me talking to the guy out in the front and asking him about a famous line from Star Wars and a verse from the Bible. And you guys see in the middle of the video, you see where he gets sort of irritated about the question. He says, "Oh, you only said 2 questions," and isn't it bizarre that somebody would come out like that and say, and get in that type of mode where they, hey, hurry up with the questions. That's not how people at my church are or were.
I think that this is a completely relevant response when you conduct the interview the way that you did.
Yeah, he did a song at the famous verse in the Bible.
About a famous person.
A famous verse in the Bible. The lion.
And the lamb?
Yeah, the lion shall live with the lamb, right? Which verse is that?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay, so it's 11:6. But there actually is no verse about the lion and the lamb. Did you know that? Never was, right?
So what is it?
Apparently, it's the wolf and the lamb.
Interesting.
He had nowhere to go. He was there for like an hour after church, just standing there. I mean, but you see his response. This guy is brilliant. Supposed to be all throughout the church and speaking all different languages and stuff. And it's pretty ridiculous. I asked him the question of, do you remember Jiffy peanut butter? And he goes, yeah. And I say, can you spell it? And he gets stuck on Jiffy.
You think that his behavior is strange, but you're asking him these questions and you're not giving him any reason behind it. Instead, you're kind of treating him like he's an idiot because he's getting the answers wrong, but he's giving you the answers that you want. I mean, just look and listen to how you sound.
So I'll ask you 2 more questions. You ever watch Star Wars? Big Star Wars fan?
I have watched Star Wars.
Okay, the original ones from the 70s, right?
The original ones, yeah.
Okay, now, what's the famous line Darth Vader says to Luke?
I'm going to assume, Luke, I am your father?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. 2 more. Okay.
There was 2
Jiffy
more
peanut
last
butter.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There was 2 more last time? What do you mean?
You said 2 more questions.
Yeah.
You said
Okay.
there's 2
One
more.
more.
One more. Okay. I got one.
Okay. Jiffy peanut butter. Recognize that?
Yeah.
How you spell that?
Jify?
No, man.
He provides you the answers that you want with the whole Luke, I am your father bit. Which, by the way, can we just remove this from the Mandelas? This isn't a Mandelas. If you were a true Star Wars fan, you would know that the dialogue leading up to that phrase happens because Vader says, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. And then Luke says, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. And then Vader says, no, I am your father. And then it goes, dun, 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 and Luke goes, never mind. If Luke said, he told me you killed him, why would it make sense for Vader to say, Luke, I am your father? That doesn't make sense in the scene. It's not really dramatic. It's not grammatically correct. However, if you're wanting to reference just that one phrase later on, maybe at a party, maybe you want to sell a Star Wars toy that says the line, you want it to say, Luke, I am your father. Because if the toy said, no, I am your father, or if you walked up to somebody at a party and said, no, I am your father, they wouldn't know you were talking about Star Wars.
And then the final guy at the end where he backpedals, I say, you remember Jiffy peanut butter? He says, yeah. And then I just go, oh, so can you spell Jiffy for me? So he goes, oh, isn't it Jif? And I was like, you just out of nowhere, just bing, light bulb off in your head, backpedal it to Jif.
You have the other guy, you claim that he said Jiffy, but if you run through the original tape...
Remember Jiffy peanut butter, right?
As far as, yeah.
How do you spell it?
Skippy guy, though.
Skippy? How do you spell it? Jiffy.
Oh, wasn't it Jif peanut butter? I don't know.
You just said Jiffy.
That dude never said Jiffy. You said Jiffy. And then you blamed him for saying Jiffy when he never said it.
Remember Jiffy peanut butter, right?
As far as, yeah.
He heard what you said and he was trying to just get away or make a joke or whatever. And then when you asked him to spell it, he corrected you. Fucking hell. You just make yourself look like a big asshole in this. Alright, so this last video comes to us from a channel named Perfection. And the title of this video, this is quite a catching one, is New Mandela Effect. This is not my husband. Help. Continental Drift Pangea. A bit of a bizarre mix-up of different things, but let's jump into it and see what's going on.
I can't sleep.
And the Oscar goes to...
Forgive me. I took a shower.
Has she had a shower? Because her hair It's completely dry.
I was in bed. I didn't plan on anybody seeing me. I have no makeup on.
I'm gonna call her out on this makeup thing. Either she has a pretty mean beauty filter on that camera, or she's fully wearing makeup.
And I don't care. The Mandela effect for me has been around since before I knew it was called the Mandela effect. And it started with the Lindbergh baby. In my reality, the Lindbergh baby was never found.
Have you ever heard of a thing called news fatigue, where the same story crops up again and again and again to the point that you just go, fuck, I don't want to have to listen to this anymore. And you don't even sometimes do it consciously, but you just go, I'm not going to be invested in this anymore. And then baby gets found, not alive, and you've already checked out of that. Happens a lot, more than you would think.
Well, my husband vividly tells this story in my memory of him sitting in class and somebody who was maybe not the most capable student. And he was maybe like a pot smoker. And he literally said, well, it looks like that one and that one fit together. You know, could that be? I remember my husband telling this story about how the teacher said, no, she kind of made fun of him. And they all kind of made fun of him. Well, tonight, for some reason, the story came up and he doesn't remember that. In fact, he has always been taught. He's always been taught that Pangea always existed. And I go, no, honey, you told this story. You've told it to me several times. And he goes, no, I've been taught that my whole life. It was called continental drift, and he's serious. Well, what do I do with that memory? And where is my husband that used to tell me that story?
He's probably sitting in bed, either asleep or going, what the fuck is she doing in the bathroom?
My heart is breaking tonight. I don't even want to go back to bed, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep.
I know we're wrapping up to the end of this video, but I just want to say I feel real bad for the husband in this scenario. What's going to happen? What happens? What's the fallout of this? I don't know. Oh my God, Denise. What happened? I heard about you and Charles. How did you guys break up? Did he cheat on you? Was it gambling? Was it the drinking? Oh my God. Tell me, what happened? Well, Tanya, let me tell you, he is from another timeline where they learned about Pangea in high school. I mean, what do I do with that? Well, fuck him. You don't need him in your life. Go you, girl power. Okay guys, that wraps up the latest episode of Mandela Madness. This has been the first of a 3-part series called The Method Behind the Madness. And I'm feeling it right now. But thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to see the next episode, be sure to click that subscribe button to come along. Be really interested to see what people think of this one in the comments. But for right now, I'm going to go have a cold shower because I'm feeling a little bit dirty. I haven't done my makeup. And I can't sleep. Jesus. This is why people don't do this. This is a hazard, man. Alright. Thank you, guys. Catch you later. Oh, pretty hot.